Howdy folks, we are here with another fascinating low elo game between Trabiscott, who's in the red playing as the Aztecs, and Mad Max, who is in the blue playing as the Huns. At the time of this recorded game, Mad Max was roughly 280 elo, whereas Trabiscott was 111, which is not a super uncommon elo difference to see at low elo, and I would say that just looking at this normally, I think that they'd be pretty well matched up, but we'll see what happens. Alright, immediately starting the game. No reaction from Trabiscott, which at first, what you kind of expect. Going to the stragglers and building villagers. There's a reason, I'll slow this down a little bit. What you want to do here is immediately start building a house. Take these two villagers, build a house, and the reason is as soon as this villager comes out, you're housed. Just like that. And then you can't build any more villagers. You have to go to loom. As you can see right here, they've just gotten housed. And it's just not great because your economy got slower. This is also not a great place for a house. This is farm space. Unless you're Khmer, your farms, you want to have them close to a town center or mill so that your villagers have less movement they have to go to drop off resources. Especially in early games, especially against a cavalry civilization like Huns, you also like to have your farms next to the town center so that you can garrison those villagers quickly inside to protect them. But we've got a house coming up. More villagers will be coming out. On the straggler trees, generally you want to open with sheep because as soon as these villagers are out, you're not going to be producing enough food to continuously produce villagers, and that can be really important. But if you must go to lumber, put it on a lumber camp, because these straggler trees, your villagers are going to have to walk. And these two, this one's not too bad, but this one here, they're having to move so far. Same with killing the sheep over here. Your villager has to walk all the way back to the town center. This is why we like to have sheep under the TC, so the villager, you can see they don't even move. They just drop off food, go back. Drop off food, go back. It's very efficient. And also, if you had your lumber camp here, your villagers would be able to do the same thing with wood. Got a cute little four corners house thing going here. I would, yeah, you want to start making more villagers here. And you can see this is slowing down because you have 2 on food. You've got enough for 1 more villager. We're going to address that in a minute. But by the time, if you were producing a villager now, by the time you get up to 50 food again, your other villager will have been built and there will be TC idle time, which is why you want to keep more on the sheep so you can have that constant production. But that really only matters if you're actually producing. So the really big thing here is produce villagers constantly. Your opponent has 10 already. You have 6. That's not great. Now this mill. Generally, starting mills get built in 2 places. The berries, or having your villagers go to the berries, come back, go to the berries, come back, or deer, which I don't even know where the deer are. Oh, there's some sheep missed. If you need to mill the zebra, for instance, maybe you build a mill there. This is not a good spot. It again takes up some farm space on the TC. This is maybe the absolute worst place for a mining camp you could possibly put it, because mining camps are resource gather sites, which means your villagers, when they go, or resource collection sites, so when your villagers have resources, they want to drop it off at the mining camp, which means you want to put it next to the gold, next to the stone, next to the other stone. Where you don't want to put it is almost as far away from any resource that you could possibly get it. This is not a good place for a mining camp. This is an even worse place for a lumber camp, because though this villager will be able to drop off trees very efficiently here, once that's done, your nearest tree is here, and then all the way over here. This is the sort of thing you want up here. And again, because this is based on the fact that all 3 of these buildings have been placed in this way, and you can see this villager going out to gold now, I suspect that this particular player is not familiar with what they actually do. So these buildings provide resources. Some of them, like for example the mill, let you build other buildings. But in general, these are resource collection buildings. You build them next to the resource that you're collecting so that you can have more efficient drop-offs. And we'll watch this villager now as he finishes mining and walks all the way back to the town center and then walks all the way back to the gold. Now imagine if this mining camp was right here. That villager probably would have 6 gold mined already and would be getting ready to drop it off. Same thing with this lumberjack. It's just going to start being more and more inefficient. Creating more villagers, that's good. This needs to keep happening. And the reason this is, again, happening so slowly is you have 2 on 2 separate goats. You want 6 there. Yes, you will run through your goats very quickly, but that's okay. Because even if you don't want to take boar, even if you don't want to take sheep, you can have enough food and you'll have more villagers at that point, so you can have wood, you can build farms. The idea is that, especially at lower elos, as long as your villagers are doing something and as long as you're continuously producing them, you will probably do better than your opponent. Because I guarantee that your opponent is not doing that. You can see we've got these lumberjacks and Jills, I guess, having to walk all the way back. This lumber camp right here would have made that so much more efficient. We see the same thing with the gold miners. This is good scouting, though. So keep that up. I would have way more on food at this point. You don't need gold. This is maybe the absolute worst place for a farm you could possibly place. Now, farms are resource generating buildings, not collecting buildings. So they want to be, villagers here want to drop off at a town center or a mill. And you've noticed this farm is pretty far away from both of those things. Now, you could have made a worse farm if you had put it in the corner. But really, what you want to do with this is put it right next to the town center. Right next to the mill, for the same reason that this villager, you can see another one's been built here, is going all the way back here. And then they're going to go all the way back here. And that inefficiency just adds up so quickly. It's going to be ridiculous. It does look nice. If you are playing Khmer, it does not matter for farms. Villagers just throw food into the ether for Khmer. Khmer still do need their mining camps and their lumber camps to, their lumber camps and their mining camps to be in the right places so that this sort of thing doesn't happen. And the only reason that you're up in score right now is because of the scouting, which is really good scouting, as we see more farms coming out. I'm just going to speed up a little bit here because this is just kind of what happens. At this point, if you had a build order, which really for following, if you got your placements right and you got your build order down, I guarantee you jump 400 in elo, even if you have no idea what to do after that. You would be on your way to feudal at this point. But you don't have any food really. You are making villagers, which is great. You haven't brought in your rhino. Where's the elephant? There's the elephant. You definitely know where all your resources are, and that's really good. But yeah, you're on gold way too early. This gold is not useful to you right now. You can build militia with it, sure, but you're not going to build militia. You're not going to build a lot of militia. You see your opponent's on the way to feudal. These villagers would be more efficient getting food. If you had 4 on food and they brought in a rhino, at this point you could have been up to feudal already because you would have enough food. As it is, you're going to have to wait a long time because these villagers are really inefficient in bringing their food. Unfortunately, you don't have to wait as long as you normally would because you're not creating villagers. Even in this situation, having more villagers, even though you're spending the food, you're not getting up to feudal as quickly, you're still getting resources with them. Though in this case, you'd be getting resources so inefficiently that I'm not sure it's completely worth it. Alright, your opponent's up to feudal. Your opponent is Huns. You know this. You should know this because you saw it on the screen. Huns cavalry. They love their scouts. I don't know why this person is going out to hunt alone. We'll deal with that in a minute. You want to start walling. Wall here. This is actually quite a lot to wall, especially against scouts. But maybe, you know, the problem is you can't even small wall because small wall assumes your resource collection buildings are next to your resources. So you can't really even small wall because then your villagers wouldn't be able to do. Small walls, for those who don't know, is where you build just a little bit of palisade here, 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 here. Lock your villagers in there with the lumber camp. It's very effective against scouts and it's very cheap. Making walls here, maybe around, yeah, this isn't a very good place to wall. But you need to be doing something because scouts are going to be coming sooner or later. Now let's talk about this. The amount of decay that you're getting on the zebra means that you don't really want to go hunting with less than 3 villagers. Preferably 4. This guy will pick up a lot of meat. You can see, and there's the Aztec carry bonus as well. But while he's heading off, you can see that zebra is losing meat. It was 78 at this point. It's going to be probably down to 50 by the time he gets back, and that's 20 food you've lost. Whereas if you have more villagers, they're able to fully get all that meat. Now you're in feudal. If you're not building walls, you at very least should get a barracks up. You should stop building your farms like this, though this is actually going to be the most efficient farm you have because it's almost right next to the mill like this. Get barracks up, get some spears. 2 spears here, 2 spears here. This is kind of hard to defend, but maybe a couple spears here. Your opponent's probably going to go decently heavy into cavalry. You have some spears. You'll fight off the cavalry. That's a big waste of food for them. You can see now, this is what you should be expecting. Even if you can't see your opponent's base, you should be expecting cavalry from them. And as a matter of fact, you should have been able to see your opponent's base at this point. Your scout's been idle for quite a while. Sending them out, sending them to scout this area. They're probably here. They might be here. But this is the most likely location, or somewhere around here. Yeah. I did notice wheelbarrow came in, I think. Let's double check. Town center. Oh no, wheelbarrow didn't come in. What did you just research then? Eco upgrades. Okay, researched other eco upgrades. So you know that the eco upgrades are a thing. That's good. And that's kind of why I suspect that maybe you think that these buildings are only for upgrades. But they are for more things. Honestly, in this situation, I would get wheelbarrow because there you go. In most cases, it's not great to have unless you've got a certain number of villagers. Spirit of the Law did a great video on this a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to reiterate it. But at this point in your economy, how you have it set up, it's going to increase your efficiency so much because your villagers are just going to be able to move so much faster. Not even so much faster, just a little bit faster. And that's going to be such a big difference because this is so ridiculous. They're also going to collect more, which is, going to help. But you can see, I can tell this player knows about their eco upgrades. They just seem to have this really weird idea of where they put their camps. This is a bad sign. You see this scout, you see it is fully upgraded for feudal anyway. Your base is wide open. 4 scouts in here, you're going to lose probably 6 or 7 villagers, and you don't have that many. You need to be getting spears, you need to be getting barracks up. You've got so much gold at this point. You need less people on gold and more people on food, more people on wood. You've got people on stone at this point. That villager. Oh yeah. Yeah, here's the mining camp. You see how far they're going? Yeah. This is just not good. Let's actually go here. This is the one I was looking for. 13 military. That's a lot of scouts for your opponent, and normally you could punish that if you were walled, because that's a ton of food. On the other hand, you're not going to punish that because you are completely open. And your opponent knows that now because they've sent 1 scout, some amount of scouts through your base. Barracks coming in might be too late at this point because to counter that, you need 7 or 8 spears, and you just don't have the time to build them. Speed this up just a little bit. Barracks, okay. Start getting your spears out, or blacksmith, that works too. If you are going to go fast castle, I wouldn't build the barracks. If you're looking to just build spears at this point, I honestly wouldn't build the blacksmith because You need that wood for houses, you need that wood for spears. I don't know why your opponent is getting infantry armor. Huns are not known for their infantry, so I hope they're not planning on going infantry. Okay, houses, again, too close to the TC. You can see you're starting to run out of wood now. You have 900 gold. What are you spending gold on? You don't have anything to spend gold on, and oh my god, that's a lot of scouts. And now you lose everything. Your entire economy dies. And no fun, bad play. That was amazing. Okay, I'm assuming that was meant as an insult, that Mad Max was the bad player, but no, trabiscott, I hate to break it to you, but Mad Max was very slow and is, yes, not a very good player, or they would not be at 280 elo, but you are the bad player in this situation here. There are some really critical mistakes here. The biggest one being your collection buildings need to be on your resources. You need to fix that. That's just the biggest thing. Fix that. Your farms need to be around your town center. Fix that. You need to be constantly producing villagers. Fix that. Get up to feudal faster. Get military. You will start winning more games. I guarantee you. But yeah, this was this, I will say, is maybe one of the worst bases I have ever seen, even among low elo, because it really does look like this player doesn't understand what the buildings do. And so that, for that player, I honestly, maybe I'd just say, do the tutorial. Go through the William Wallace tutorial. It teaches you these things. You will get better at the game. Play some of the campaigns. Watch some recorded games and just see what they do. Yeah, I don't really have anything else I can say on that. So, as always, hope this was informative, and I'll see you all next time.